Hey guys, what's going on? It is me, Puncake Yoshi or Alberto. Welcome back to the video. I wasn't going to initially make a video about this, but I thought it was a good opportunity to return the series film views and just in general, because this is actually a good movie that I think people should go out and watch or, wait till streaming or just watch in general. And if you're watching this after the fact, after the movie's already been out for a while and you want a little review, here it is. I'll put spoilers when there is spoilers and vice versa when there isn't. You'll know. But for now, I'll keep it spoiler free until I let you guys know. So first of all, like it did feel very weird to get this movie in September rather than October when Halloween would be. I don't know if Tim Burton usually does this, but it just felt out of place. Someone can let me know in the comments if this is something that he usually does, but I feel like this movie would have been better if it obviously was released around October, like in the middle of October 15 or something, because getting it like literally almost 2 months early felt very out of place. Everyone knows Tim Burton, everyone knows aesthetic, everyone knows his vibe. And if you know anything about Tim Burton, you know that it's very dark, gritty, whimsical, and it just didn't feel like a September movie. But maybe he does this, maybe I don't know. But in terms of this movie as a sequel, I think you literally couldn't get any better. You get to see what happened to Lydia after the events of the first movie and what she ended up doing with her life after the whole musical scene from the end of the first movie, which is probably one of my favorite scenes from the first movie when she just breaks out into dance and starts flying and stuff. But if you guys haven't seen the first movie, does that affect the viewing of this one? I personally don't think so. I think that there is enough context that they provide in the movie where you can just jump straight in. You will miss a couple of callbacks to the first movie, which will happen all the times when you get sequels. But other than that, I don't think that you necessarily have to watch the first one. I do think it enhances the second movie, but it doesn't. It's not a deal breaker here. So, in terms of performances, who were my favorite? Who were my least favorite? Honestly, I don't have a least favorite because I think everyone did a really good job. My favorite for sure was Bob. And if you guys don't know, I don't know if Bob has an actor behind him, but Bob is a character that kind of you meet in the first movie at the end when Beetlejuice gets sent to the information center, and he sits next to him, and he's just like the funniest looking dude ever. I love him. I don't know, just he just kind of like he's the whole vibe. He kind of took my heart in the first movie, and I really did like him. I swear to God, I like the Bob's cool. And then this movie, they give him a bigger role. He becomes kind of like the henchman of Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice, and he kind of helps him out with his whole like operation for whatever reason. I don't even know. He's like doing calls or something. I don't know why, but he provides a good service to Beetlejuice, and then he's like kind of his best friend in a way. And I don't know, he's just like a comic relief. I love him so much. Michael Keaton. Speaking of Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice, again, amazing job. I think we got something that we didn't get in the first movie, which was the whole backstory of how. Actually, this might be a spoiler. So spoilers. Michael Keaton, you his Beetlejuice, you get a little bit of a backstory as to what happened to him when he passed away. That was a really cool scene. Um, Aesthetically amazing, and everything was just awesome about that scene. I really like that scene. Another scene that stood out to me was the airplane scene. And if you've seen the movie, you know. If you haven't seen the movie, it's just a really cool animated scene that like it takes from the whole vibe of the movie. It feels really awkward and out of place. I mean, even my friend that was next to me was like, "The hell is this?" And I was like, "Ah, that's Tim Burton." Because if you know Tim Burton, you know that he does like weird, really weird, out of the blue shit, and he does that here too. And I liked it. It was cool. It was cool. It was refreshing to see that. Yeah, and then Jenna Ortega, obviously as Lydia's daughter, is very good. Her performance is amazing. She's just a great actress overall, and she just adds to the movie. To be honest, there's not much to say about her other than that she's a great actress and that she does good in the movie. If you've seen any Tim Burton movies, you know what you're getting here. It's gonna be a Tim Burton movie, you know. So I think that the writing itself of the movie was perfectly written. I really like the A plot of saving Jenna Ortega from Jeremy. I didn't really expect it. Their relationship did feel a bit awkward and forced a little at the beginning, like the way they met and then how fast they were moving. It was like in the span of 2 days, they like, I get that relationships go really fast, but like that was like a little too fast. And I think Jenna Ortega's character just kind of felt like she was going head over heels over some dude that she doesn't know. And that's not an issue in terms of the writing. It's an issue in terms of like the screen time, watch time, and the fact that this is a movie and it's not a TV show. Because if it was a TV show, it would be more organic. But it is a fault. It's there, but it doesn't take away from the movie. If you could just get away from that little aspect of it, you can just go along with it. It's totally fine. One of the things that was my favorite in the movie for sure was seeing everyone in the afterlife and how they died, which it's always a blast to see just like the different ways that people have passed away, and then they literally physically show that in the afterlife, which is so cool. Such a Tim Burton thing to do. Although some of them did tickle my brain the wrong way, like the shark one. I don't know. Every time he was on scene, I was like, oh god. And then he was trying to talk. I was like, oh, it was doing something to me that I can't explain. And then when the one with the little fishies eating the guy's meat was very, I don't know. It just, ugh, I hate that type of stuff. But obviously that was done on purpose and to, to get a reaction from people, and it did. It definitely got a reaction from me. Left me a little uncomfortable, but in a good way. In a good way. If you like Tim Burton movies, you know what you're getting here. The little animations of like the snake and um, Bob and all that stuff is all really good to see. The campiness of the movie, it's still there. So if you guys have seen the original, you know how campy the movie was, the quirkiness of it, the weird sand worms and all that stuff that like it's made to be a little bad on purpose, like it's there to provide a really cool aesthetic. And it's only Tim Burton that's really known for this type of stuff, so he has created his own little aesthetic, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Does this movie hold up to the sequel? I think it does. It does everything a sequel should do, where it expands the universe from the first one. You get to see what happens to the main character from the first one. Maybe even have the whole cliche pass the torch type of thing. It doesn't really have that here, but there's a little bit of that. There's lots of callbacks, and my favorite part is that it's written very tightly. There's like no loose ends or loopholes that I could find personally, which as a screenwriter I could really do appreciate. I liked William Dafoe's character. Ever since Poor Things, it feels like he's been typecasted as this like zany wild card character, but I'm here for it. I think he does a great job. He can do it. You guys have seen his resume. It speaks for himself. If you've seen The Northman or The Lighthouse, you know the type of vibe that he can bring in. Dolores Laverge, which is a character that I didn't know her name in the movie because I think they said it once, but it's the Frankenstein girl. I didn't know her name, but she was a great addition to the movie and added some stakes for Beetlejuice, which I think was very needed because in the first one it's all about him trying to get Lydia to marry him, and that was his stake. But here he needed something to push him to come to the real world and go back and forth. So I think she was a great addition and provided some good obstacles for Beetlejuice himself. Tim Burton has had controversy for not putting people of color in his movies, but here he added an homage and like a response to that and added the Soul Train, which honestly was really fun and one of the best parts of the movie to be honest. And the whole Soul Train double entendre is like really good, and I think he should just keep doing these type of scenes and implement more people of color into his movies, just because representation is important and representation matters. Everyone likes to see a version of themselves in the movie. Yeah, so that's something that he should keep doing. Another pretty big spoiler, and one of the reasons why I gave this movie a F minus is is because they freaking ended up killing Bob. Which like how could you actually though? Like what? That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. It's not. I literally told my friend I'm about to walk out of the theater when that happened. That was not okay. I was so mad. But they literally okay. So if I remember correctly, they fucking kill him, and then the other ones are loose in the city, which I don't even think got a follow up to. They just kind of just walked around, and that's the last thing we saw. So there's Bob's all around this town, maybe even the U.S., and Bob's dead. So yeah, this movie freaking sucks. Negative 10 out of fucking 10. Not but I'm playing, but it is. It did make me very sad to see that. I was like, what the hell? I was expecting him to bring them back, but he just literally never comes back, which is super unfortunate. So the movie itself ends very climactically, and it merges all the plot points that you would expect, all the storylines they come together. After the climax, though, it does feel a little generic. The ending, you can kind of guess what happens after the whole church scene. So like I do deduct some points for that because like it could have ended differently. They didn't end it in a way that they set up another one either. They just kind of ended it like, oh, the movie was there for the climax, and then it just kind of falls a little short. What can you expect? No, nothing is perfect. So that's just my personal opinion too. There is a possibility that we'll get a third movie from this. I guess we'll have to wait and see because there's nothing's announced so far and we don't know yet. So there might be a third movie. Maybe the next 40 years we'll get another one with Michael Keaton too. AI. They're gonna AI upscale him. He's gonna be like different person. So we'll get that next 40 years from now. But yeah, for a movie that like had a really long age gap, I think this is so good. I would highly recommend it to anyone that loves Tim Burton or just wants to watch a fun movie. So, my final review. This movie gets 9 sandworms out of 10. Would highly recommend to anyone who's a fan of Tim Burton or just wants to watch a refreshing good Halloween movie in the middle of September. And that will cut it for me, guys. I do appreciate you guys for watching. As always, stay safe. Bye bye. See you next time.